Hey everybody, I'm Erik.
I'm Conor.
And we're from That Geek Show, and we're going to give you a rundown of the Marvel Cinematic Universe all the way up to Civil War. And Conor, where did we start in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
We actually started back in 2008 with the very first Iron Man. If you guys don't know who he is, big shot, billionaire, kind of an asshole sometimes. Went through a full phase. We went through Iron Man, we introduced the Incredible Hulk, we introduced Thor and Captain America, and we wrapped it all up with them coming together in the Avengers movie.
And was there anything crazy, like important people should know about this specific Avengers movie? Now we had all like these solo movies, Thor, there's some kind of stuff that happened in Asgard, but the Avengers is where we first got to see all of these heroes that we've loved from our childhood come together on the big screen. In my opinion, my favorite Marvel Cinematic movie. Anything of significance happen in this movie that we need to know about heading into Civil War?
You know, this is the first time that all the heroes have actually come together. Of course, any first team getting together, they're gonna butt heads. So it's gonna be kind of an initial first meeting. It's gonna be more of a, I don't like your ideas, but we'll work with it. And it somewhat gets better.
And we kind of saw that happen between Tony Stark and Steve Rogers.
Yes, we did.
At one point in the Avengers. It was kind of like they were in the middle of the room, and it was supposed that Loki's staff, which held this crystal, spoiler, it also held Ultron, was when people were around it, it kind of made them angry, frustrated with each other, kind of at odds, you know, butting heads.
Yeah.
So they kind of went on a little bit, and there was that famous line,
put on the suit and we'll go a few rounds.
what are you? You're nothing more than what was special in a bottle, or something like that.
Yeah.
And
it's
then
like, take off your suit and what are you? Well,
genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, or something to that effect. Either way, it set the tone for going into the rest of Phase 2, which we'll get into now.
Raise the missing mast. Ship the topsails. That man is playing Galaga. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
Now, Phase 2, everybody, as you all know, started out with the blockbuster hit of Iron Man 3. Well, not so much.
No.
I actually liked it, though, and we saw a different side of Iron Man.
it was a cool concept, but I couldn't wrap my head around
You
it.
didn't like this? It was like 80% Tony Stark and
I didn't.
20% Iron Man in the movie?
Yeah, it was like, it's all touchy-feely now.
But you know, it's kind of important for story arc for Tony Stark, for Robert Downey Jr. in this movie to go from this kind of like cocky guy, and then he's broken, and then he gets a little PTSD from saving the world in Avengers. And now he's kind of dealing with that because he's getting like mental breakdowns and anxiety attacks and things like that.
Oh,
So
definitely.
we see him rise and fall and rise again in this movie.
Well, I think it actually also opens up a lot, like Pandora's box when it comes to what happens in Age of Ultron. In Iron Man 3, we see all of his suits just erupt.
Yeah,
and that was just him working.
Yeah.
But that's where the idea stemmed to have an Iron Man suit or some kind of suit around the world, which is basically what happened in Age of Ultron.
Right, and I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because next we have Thor 2, The Dark World, which we consider better than the original Thor. It had a little bit more going on with it.
Yeah.
Then again, still kind of a weird movie. And that was important because we get to see...
Because we're introduced into the Ether, which is one of the Infinity Gems, the Reality Gem.
Ooh, gems, reality gems. Of course, we got to see the Tesseract, which is the space gem.
Yeah.
So, what are all these gems all of a sudden meaning? And spoiler alert, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Guardians of the Galaxy introduce the power gem, which is in this crazy little orb thing. So why does all these gems matter? I mean, the layman, the person who's going to see the comic book movie is probably going, all right, what's going on,
So part of what this whole thing is going to be ending with is the Infinity War. There's this mad Titan Thanos. He's looking for all these gems of power to put it in his gauntlet and just dominate the universe. But that's where it's all kind of leading up to. Right now we know where 4 of the 6 gems are. We're introduced to them. It's in Loki's scepter. There's the Tesseract. There's the Ether, and there is the actual power orb in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right, and we kind of got to see him used a little bit all throughout each of the movies, which brings us to Age of Ultron, and this was kind of the next big, not really ending, but kind of the next transition, because we're getting close to Phase 3 now, where we're going to start off with Civil War. Age of Ultron, I mean, if the Avengers brought everyone together, this movie tore everyone apart, essentially. I mean, they learned to work together a little bit to defeat their common enemy in Ultron, but I mean, what everyone went through, Bruce Banner, to Thor even seeing the visions of what he's going to experience in Ragnarok coming down the line. Obviously Tony Stark, you know, and then of course Steve Rogers, Captain America. This was a crazy movie in terms of all those things coming together and playing a factor. Anything of insignificance happen in Age of Ultron that we should know about going into this? Any big events?
Any insignificance? I mean,
Yeah.
Quicksilver dying is pretty insignificant.
Well,
we don't
okay.
really care about that. But significant-wise, I mean, you're right. We do see a lot of the Avengers characters.
The emotions.
Just go through the motions of
Yeah.
everything that's going on inside them.
Yeah.
And at the end of Age of Ultron, we do see Bruce Banner kind of just taking off on his own. So we know he's not going to be in Civil War,
Good
unfortunately.
point. We won't see him in Civil War.
We know that Thor went back to Asgard.
Got to
to
get
take
going.
care
He's
of-
got to figure out what this crazy vision that Joss Whedon threw in the middle of the movie was all about.
Seriously, though, it's like, I got to figure this out, man. What's going on?
Shirtless Thor had to get out of there. You
He's
know,
pulling like a Wolverine. Like, what am
I
I?
know.
Where am I? So we know the players in Civil War. We know that unfortunately Thor and the Hulk are not going to be in there.
But they might be in line for a buddy movie coming up.
I don't know.
Rumor mill. No, you don't like that?
I don't know.
No.
We'll
All right.
see. But we do know the players of Civil War, and that's what we're going to dive into right now, as you can see by my partner's shirt.
What's your name?
Harley. And you're...
The mechanic. Tony. You know what keeps going through my head? Where's my sandwich?
Which brings us to phase 3, what you guys have all been waiting for. The reason you're watching this video, Civil War.
Oh, so good. I'm so excited, though.
Now we should talk a little bit, let me little disclaimers. This is not the Civil War that you might be thinking of from the comic books, if you're thinking at all of it. We should talk about that. What happened in the comic books, Connor, in the Civil War saga?
What happened in the Civil War comic book was that a group of new heroes, they were called the New Warriors, they tried to go out on their own and be these heroes that we all know. They messed up big time, and the government was like, yo, you need to be kept in check. You need to be put into a system. We want to know who all of you are, what your powers are.
But it wasn't just that. It was kind of in the just like we're leading up to in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just a lot of events had taken place. This was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
It was.
To say.
It was.
Like Conor was saying, they wanted to do a Human Registration Act, or a Superhuman Registration Act, as it were, in the comic book version. But in this version that we're going to be seeing in the movie, it's going to be called what we think is the Sokovia Accords. And that happens because of Age of Ultron, where we see Sokovia get dropped out of the sky and destroyed of this crazy monster that Tony Stark built. you know?
Everything just decimated.
So what we think is going to happen in this one is there's going to be some sort of event, like in the comics, that's going to push the government over the edge and really say, all right, you guys need to be kept in check. We don't know whether that means that there's going to be a registration act or it just means like, hey, you can't be superheroes anymore unless we tell you you can be superheroes anymore.
Yeah.
Who knows? Either way, creates a rift between Tony Stark, Iron Man, or creates a rift between Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Iron Man, Captain America, yada yada yada. You've seen the trailer, you know what's going to happen. These guys go out, they exchange blows. But what's interesting is who's going to be on the team.
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't already seen the movie clips, spoiler alert, we're about to give you the team rosters. On Team Cap, we have Captain America, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier.
Ooh.
We have Sam Wilson, the Falcon. We have the Scarlet Witch. We have...
Which, by the way, they've said is the most powerful person so far in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Scarlet Witch.
Very
So
true.
Good to know.
Because she does control the...
She controls a lot.
Chaos or
Yeah,
something.
she's just weird, as they say.
Yeah. Who else do we have? We have Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, which we saw in Ant-Man. We kind of skipped over it a little bit in our lead up to this because it wasn't that significant of a movie. But hey, spoiler alert, he can shrink and maybe get bigger, but we don't know yet. It might happen in this movie.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a killer panel that was seen in the movie clips trailers is one of our teammates, Hawkeye, shoots Ant-Man on one of his arrows to Iron Man. So I'm super stoked about that. Because
So Hawkeye gets to shoot Ant-Man. That's his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets to do something again. Good for you,
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner, collecting a paycheck.
You get to do something with your arrows. Good job. Not run out. All right, so we know who's on Cap's team. Who's on Iron Man's team?
The best team, you mean? Of course, we got Iron Man, which is Tony Stark, his buddy War Machine, the Black Widow, the Black Panther, the Vision, and of course that we saw in the trailers for everyone to get so excited about and get big ol', nerdgasms. Spider-Man is finally in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hi everyone. I lost my shit over that, man.
I mean, I think the internet broke that day.
It really did that.
And it's perfect because he's got the little squiddy eyes, which means we kind of might see a connection between him and Tony Stark and the technology aspect of it.
Yeah.
So that really is going to be a really cool thing.
We could see a whole new take on the Iron Spider. It's not just like
Yeah.
a full metallic suit. It's like a...
It actually is in his suit.
Yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
Badass.
It'd be super dope, man.
Speaking of Spider-Man, we're also going to see Aunt May, which is going to be played by Marissa Tomei, which is just weird for me. I thought I'd throw that in there. I don't know. Marissa Tomei, I think of like the young chick in My Cousin Vinny, and now she's Aunt May? Aunt May. All right.
I mean, there have been other questionable choices for actors and actresses, but you know, we're not going to get into that.
No, what we need to get into is what we think is going to happen in Civil War. Give me your prediction. Who's winning, and what are the consequences going to be of this movie, Connor?
I got to stick with my boy Cap. I think he's going to win. Even though in the comic books he kind of just surrenders because he doesn't want to fight anymore because the people need.
But that's a
superheroes.
powerful panel.
It is such a powerful
He
panel.
gives up
I love
because
it.
people notice that he's like being like evil in a way, almost going to kill Tony Stark, Iron Man.
Yeah, if you haven't read the comic books, I encourage you to read it. He basically just like forgets why he's really fighting, and he's fighting his brother, and that's another reason why it's a lot called the Civil War. He realizes that he's fighting the wrong enemy because he's fighting against his friends, his teammates, and all these people around him who he's supposed to be fighting for.
They're ending up dead.
Yeah,
So he gives up, goes to jail, and
that's kind of where.
that's where that ends.
Yeah.
Now we'll get into what I'm going to predict.
All right.
Civil War is crazy. It's been described by a lot of critics who've already seen the movie as the greatest Marvel movie ever, and I think that has a reason. I think that's because we're finally going to see some consequences of actions and some actual deaths happen. Just not besides Quicksilver. We're throwing him out. He was one throwaway character. I think we're going to see Cap die. I think this is going to happen. In the comics, in the aftermath of the Civil War, Captain America was assassinated by a brainwashed S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and Crossbones. So
Yeah.
we do see Crossbones in this movie. We know Sharon Carter is in this movie, which is the one who was brainwashed in the comic books to kill him.
So we're looking at a probable cause for him to probably die.
I'm seeing a lot of things line up, and just from my point of view, it would make sense if we saw that same kind of thing happen, getting Cap beating the crap. We saw it in the trailer,
Yeah.
you know, Winter Soldier, Captain America beating the crap out of Iron Man. What if it comes down to that where he does the same thing? He's Steve Rogers. He's that nice Boy Scout, sorry, where he's like, what am I doing? You guys are right, it's not worth it. Let's give up. Let's fight a bigger cause. Gives up. The last thing we see is him going to jail. And I don't know.
And you think that's where it's going to end?
I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see.
I have to say that
If Cap dies in this one, I think it would create a lot of weight for the universe to kind of like readjust and say Captain America is no longer part of this until maybe we bring him back with an Infinity Gem of some sort.
Sure, I mean, that's completely possible. But we also have seen the MCU kind of shy away from the comic books while still holding true to the story.
Sure.
So while I think that is totally possible that could happen, I mean, I am more excited that the Russo brothers might bring something completely off from left field.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
We've heard amazing things. I'm super stoked for it to come out.
And I've heard that the Spider-Man stuff that's in it is completely bonkers. Like, it's to the point like where it makes you forget everything that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire did, which is saying a lot because Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. So
Very much so.
we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
This doesn't have to end in a fight, Tony.
You just started a war. Stay down. Final warning.
I could do this all day.
All right, I've run out of patience. On to roost!
Hey everyone.
And that's everything that there was in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point, you guys. We hope you enjoy Civil War. Make sure you tell us what you think about it in the comments and, of course, on all of our social media. And if you get a second, go to the website and check out, we got a post up right now, the top 12 Marvel Cinematic Universe is ranked, and it was all of our staff that ranked it, so maybe we did a good job, maybe we didn't. Maybe you tell us if we did or not. Who knows? Where can people tell us all about our bad things or good things that we do, Connor?
You can totally interact with us on our Twitter, @ThatGeekShow, on our Instagram, @ThatGeekShow, or you can check us out on Facebook and totally have an awesome conversation with us, or just post pictures of Captain America and Iron and Tony Stark, who knows. You're welcome.
Lots of likes. We like likes.
Yes, please. Comment, share, everything.
And of course, we are going to do a podcast about Civil War, which will be on our very next episode. So if you're not subscribed to That Geek Show on iTunes and on SoundCloud, where we post our podcast, getting a lot of great reviews. Thank you guys for that. Go and check it out. It's called That Geek Show Podcast.
All one word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, guys, and make sure you choose your side in the Civil War. Team Iron Man?
Or Team Cap.
No.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check out our podcast and many other articles before.
No.
We'll see you guys later.
It sucks. No.
Don't be a scruffy nerf herder. Subscribe to our channel for more That Geek Show goodness in your life. Be sure to also check out our website, thatgeekshow.com, where we post exclusive photos from events and cons, and for all the latest news on upcoming special guests and geek swag giveaways. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for watching and stay geeky.